Hello, everybody. I am Anurag Pathak, your mentor for answer writing session. Now, on this regard, I am having a mega program for you, Mission 5000. Now, what is that? The detail we'll see with the process and progress of an upcoming slides. But in short, it is in a one attempt where we'll provide you the situation and comfort and all facilities so that you will get a chance to write in a 5,000 answers so that when you're going to write your mains, and this is before your mains. Now, it means what? If you attempt 20 questions every day, eventually you will manage 5,000 before your mains examination next year. So that when you write your 5,000 onwards answer, every answers would going to have a standard of a policy in content like content so that it will going to satisfy the real need of questions in UPSC mains. So every attempt is to give you a chance so they can sharpen your thinking. Now, what is sharpening of the thinking means? So that you can pinpoint, you can identify what is the real cause of some issues. So sharpening means striking the bull's eyes so that you can extract a solution out of the issues of the area where India is facing any challenges, so that you will get an edge over your competitor. Okay. Now, why to join this 5,000 mission? We have too many reasons for that. That we're going to see in the last. Let us see the idea of the mission 5,000 with the help of this question. Now, the attempt of this session, the purpose of this session is to give you some critical understanding about answer writing. Now, what is in a purpose today? This session is intended to make one attempt where I'm going to try to give you the explanation about the critical examine like question. If any question comes within a examine word, how it's going to be very different from other normal questions. Like if the question is on analysis, evaluate, then how examine question going to be very peculiarly different. Now, let us look at this question. Question says that despite a robust legislative framework, the Disaster Management Act has largely remained an unevenly applied instrument across India. So this is one part of the question, but it is not question actually, it is a statement. Now question starts from here. Critically examine the reason for the fragmented implementation across the state, substantiate with region-specific examples. Now it is too much demanding question. Like you have to put in examples from the regional, like a word case studies. And that is how you will find difficulty because input about these regional specific content and data is missing in a general standard books. You won't find these details there in NCERT, neither you will find in any institute-based class notes. So that is why, and UPSC asks such questions. Now, why they ask so that they can judge your degree of awareness. Awareness, not current affairs. Awareness means how much you are aware about. In Hindi, we call it jagruk. How much you are having a concern for the country's growth, concerns from the country's problem. So that is what their intent is, right? Now, if you look at this question, you will also get a chance to identify how administrative exam is different from academic exam. In college time, we were given a question. The intent of the questions in the colleges, academic exam, is not to see our administrative skills. Those were only to see your command on the subject, your knowledge, your information holding capacity. Now here, this exam is only to judge your administrative skills. What is administrative skills? It is a decision-making power, like how you can take spontaneous and very fine and comprehensive decision. Now, how to judge whether you have an administrative decision, decision-making capacity or not? The questions here is a kind of a problem. So they used to give a kind of a problems. And that is where they want to see your capacity. And that is where you have to change your thought also. You have to be engage in this process in a different mind setup. Now, if you're going to see this question, and if your thought and orientation is the way you had in the college time, that is an academic oriented thought process, you will fail to identify the real demand of the question. What we need to highlight all the time. So that is where the things are challenging again. What is the key demand of this question? I know the 99% of the student used to fail to find out the key demand. Normally, this see what and the find what, the question is on Disaster Management Act 2005. No, this is not a demand. The demand of the question is we need to find out reason behind fragmented implementation of this disaster management related acts and norms. The demand is fragmented implementation. Now, I'm going to give you the one tool to manage such type of questions. So, and this tool is so impressive and that it will give you the chance on, it will give you the hint how to make your mains notes. And this tool is Blueprint. Rather than making a full detailed notes, make question specific blueprints. Now, what does this boxes represent, right? So if we have a question to manage about 250 words, so how you write normally 250 words. As we have the case here, we need to write in a 250 words. You can see also we have a question is 250 words and the marks allotted is 15. So how to manage this 250 words? So like writing an essay like answer, it will make answer confusing. So my advice is handle your answer in small paragraphs of 30 words, 30 to 35 words, at most 35 words. So that if you're going to manage a 30 words paragraph, like suppose this is your answer sheet and there we have the margins both sides, we have the margins. So if you are writing in a 30 words, 30 words, and if you're going to write in 8 dimensions, right? We have a 30, and if you have a third page to write 30. So in that way, eight boxes represent each paragraph. So if you write in a 30 words per paragraph, 30, 35, okay? So eventually it will come as 240, and 35 can lead to 260 at 10%. And UPSC is very, very particular about the limit it prescribed. If you are writing extra than this, excessively extra, there's a penalty marks prescribed. That is why if you can see the details of the result of toppers, you can also get a hint about penalty marks. This is all because of this reason. So we need to be very much clear and careful about this all words allocation, right? So 30 words. Now, if you say, sir, my choice is not to write in a paragraph. I prefer point wise, like the way the toppers, like we have a lot more students this time get confused with answers of the toppers. Either way you can write in a paragraph wise also and a point wise also. If anyways, if you're writing in a paragraph, you will get a chance to write in 8 distinct and different paragraphs. Okay. And paragraph, suppose we have a paragraph, you're writing in a paragraphs. And even if your choice is to write point wise, you need to give a title and then points, title and then points, title and then 2-3 points, like this way. So choices are with you. This 8 box strategy will be applicable in both cases, right? So that is where my purpose is to give you the hint how to make your blueprint ready. And your blueprint is actually in a notes for your mains examination. Now, suppose we have this question. Let us look at this question again. And as we have identified the key demand of the question, what is the key demand? The key demand is not the Disaster Management Act, but what we have noticed, the key demand is fragmented implementation. So we need to find out the reasons actually for the fragmented implementation. It means what? Every time after giving an intro here, every time you have to talk about fragmented fragmented, fragmented implementation. Okay. Fragmented implementation, implementation. FR fragmented implementation. Okay. Fragmented implementation. So all time you have to find out the reason for fragmented implementation, because they are not interested to know why this Disaster Management Act was implemented. Nowhere they ask. And you have to go in a region specific. It is not in a 1-2 area only. You will go and analyze, you will satisfy demand. No, we need to search as much as regions, right? Now that is where the problem comes. How to gather information, and that is where my advice is. Rather than writing answers, collecting content for the answers, and finding in a question, do what? Do in a reverse engineering. See the question and create a content ready for your answer, and that way you're going to get a hint what to study and what not to study. Now, second thing is, what we need to do, we need to examine rather than analyzing. We need to examine. This is how we have the second important idea of this question, examine. Now, what does examine means? Now, let us understand the word meaning examine, and then we're going to use this idea there in the answer. Whenever we go to the doctor, if we are not feeling well, we go to the doctor. What doctor does? Doctor examine us, no? The patient. So how they examine? So doctor has some set standards already, like anatomy, looking the biological indicator and all. They have any standards, human standard, healthy body is a standard. Like we have a normal heartbeat is 72 pulses per minute. Then we have an RBC count, WBC count, color of eyes, and like that way you have a list of parameters. Now, when some patient goes to the doctor intend to see what is the deviation it has, positive or negative deviation. Now, deviation does not mean absence. Deviation means like how much the heartbeat is. 72 is in a normal. Do we have a like a high BP or low BP? The blood pressure is what? Is having a positive now, like that side deviation or this side deviation. So that is what the deviation doctor try to find out, and then doctors say prescribe something and prescribe some medicine to make it correct, right? That is the idea of an examination, and that is what exactly we need to apply idea here. What we need to do, first we need to search some standards, right? So how to find out the standards? So let us see the idea first, right? Let us see the idea, like what actually we need to see fragmented. We need to see the fragmented implementation, right? And we need not to see, actually, we need to examine. So we need to search in some standard here, like we need to find out what are the standards, and after finding out those parameters, standards of an effective implementation, we need to see what? We need to see the deviation. Why we have a negative deviation in some state, why we have a little positive, okay, like why we have mainly deviation is negative. We need to see the deviation from some standards, some standard parameters. Now, the first and foremost, most important task is to find out those standards for like a effective implementation. Now, how come and from where we're going to find like those standard? So the standard, those standard is located where? It is in the objective of DMA Act, the Disaster Management Act 2005. So what was the objective? That is in a standard, like it was in a purpose of this act. Why this act is there? There we have a certain purposes, right? So that you need to highlight here. You need to set these purposes, which is written here. This DMA focuses on mitigation, preparedness, and capacity building. And how? By creating a legal mandate for early warning, zonation, drills, standard operation procedure, right? And then we have an establishment of NDMAs, DMA, right? Statutory, and this DMA focuses on decentralization of planning, है ना? These are the key ideas it has. So you need to list all these parameters here. And with that, you're going to create a standard to examine. And then we're going to see like whether these ideas are applicable while applying the norms or not. Now, highlighting this here, you have a scope also. You can write in a one line at most one line about DMA, like how DMA came into a picture due to the tsunami-led event, compelled us to have a DMA, right? From a Hugo framework for action, the DMA 2005 came into the picture, and which holds these are objectives, right? These objectives fail to get a reality touch because see, we have also given a hint in a toffee notes. So this is a notes, toffee notes. You can get an access to this when you text here, in this number. So this deviation is already given a hint. So you can have a chance also. So you can list those deviation, possible deviation. One can see the possible deviation, but you should not confirm, because in the beginning we cannot examine without analyzing something. Now we need to enter on different paragraph. Now, how to find, and that is where our this topic notes will going to support. Now, as we have done already, the first work of finding a demand parameters after giving us some little information, and we hinted also the possible causes of a deviation. Now we have the case studies. Now, how to find out this case study? So what we do under Mission 5000 program, we support by topic specific content. These contents are developed by a group of experts in Delhi. And these experts, after discussing, they create this kind of a content, and we ask a student to refer this content before writing an answer. Have your mains content ready and then attempt an answer. So this is how you can get exactly the prescribed. So it is in a screenshot of the pages, right? Here we have an overview, and you can see the disaster response case studies of the Bihar is actually extracted from CAG audit report. The CAG audit report has prescribed like there is a budget constraint, and SDRF is getting a less of fund, heavily dependent on NDRF, right? And that is why the idea of a decentralization of planning process under DDMA, Disaster Management Act 2005, is got fragmented because of the budget constraint. And above all, this report also says there is an issue with proactive governance. Government does not have a priority to manage the flood in the Bihar because they have their own conflicting challenges. Those challenges are having more concerns over the disaster management. So that is why the governance willingness is absent, and this is where Bihar has an issue. So that is how you have to start with telling like some of the objective is to talk about decentralization, making state unit, regional unit capable to take their own care, the people participation and all. And you have to give a hint that in Bihar, because we need to touch regional example basis analysis, you have to give a reason also. This is where you have to think critically. And you have to tell because of the proactive governance, absence of proactive governance, lack of fund, right? And there we have the hint already given, weak coordination between the state, SDRF and NDRF, like things are having a fragmented. It is not fully applicable. Idea of or objectives of DMA is missing in Bihar, right? That is how you have to make an analysis. Okay, so the second paragraph related content done. And this content will make, because this content is report specific, it will make your analysis very, very correct, right? So the story of the Bihar done. Now, we have the second case studies on Himachal. Now, what this Himachal story says, as we have done paragraph 1, we listed, we made a hint, and then we have seen the Bihar story, and there we have find a reason also why we have a gap. We need to search a gap. Examination means what is the cause of the gap from the standard norms. Now we have Himachal. So you have to tell that the DMA, Disaster Management Act, talks about zonation, talks about drill, talks about strict norms, early warning, right? Now we have a report, and this report is itself from this DMA and DMA guidelines, which report says that in some district, especially where in Upper Manali and then Banjar Valley and all, the norms are not strictly followed, because to give a flexible relaxation sort to the tourist, because the tourist and their related earning is the main earning for the Himachal state. So that is why rules are not strictly implemented. It is because so that the tourist aren't going to be get in a restricted way to come and access the different regions. And not only that, zonation idea and provision is also missing. Zonation means categorizing region according to the risk. And as the zonation idea is missing, you know, there is a critical implementation gap. And why so? It is basically because lenient, because to let tourists come in large number, and that is why the state government does not give a priority to implement mitigation of the disaster, rely more on the relief measure, and this is the prime idea of DMA, to mitigate, to lessen the impact, and that is where we have a fragmentation. Okay, so the Himalaya is having a different cause, different reason why we have a gap here, right? Tourism and related event is making this area weak, right? We need to go in this way. Okay, that idea you're going to get from the toffee notes. So access to the toffee notes you can have, and you will going to text in the mentioned number. Okay, coming to the next point, we have a story of the Gujarat. This has a different preposition. Like how come we have a Bihar is having a fund constraint, and then so we have the list of the ideas given. Then we have studied Bihar, we have studied Himachal, and then we have the Gujarat. And every time we have gotten a clue why we have a gap in Bihar, why we have a gap in Himachal. The reasons are different, okay, with the region specific examples. Now we have a Gujarat. So when you will study this report says that this is a Gujarat state audit report. That report says that there are too many disaster also. This state is prone to earthquake, drought, salinization, right? But cyclone is a dominating disaster, and that is why all care is for the cyclone. No, all care is for the cyclone, not for the earthquake preparedness, because it happened once in a while, and that is why the concern is in thoughts only, right? Nobody is having an exactly priority, and that is where we have a fragmented, because you have to give a hint also, because Disaster Management Act 2002 2005 says ki we need to tackle and care all disaster equally, but here we have a priority to the cyclone over others, because cyclone is cyclic in nature. So that is how you have to give it a hint, like how the deviation is, and you have to find out the reason also. You have to find your own logic. This is okay, the logic is that government efficiency comes when they manage and handle cyclone. One day we have a Biparjoy cyclone was there. It was a kind of a super cyclone. Despite that, we got protected, and that is how governance there have gotten a lot more appreciation even from the outside India. So that is how to score numbers, the government is giving a more priority to cyclone, because every season they get in a kind of a litmus test about their disaster governance. So that is where you have to give it a hint, though this is my idea, you might be having your own idea. So that way you have to move forward, and this time you will find a case study of the Delhi. So you have to find out why we have a fragmentation, why those norms are not effectively managed. So you can get an idea. Whenever we are dealing with the examination, we need to find out the deviation, why certain objectives are not implemented, why we have a gap in implementation, right? So what is an issue within a Delhi? Here we have a coordination among the government is a problem, because there is no coordination within a PWA and this education department. Then we have a different institution, and DDMA, Delhi Disaster Management Authority, does not have a coordination here, right? That is how this report, DDMA heat audit report says the lack of coordination is a main reason here, right? Lack of coordination. This way, you have to move, and you'll find to support your answer, you'll find too many content, and this is very, very question oriented. And with this, you will get a learning also, knowing the many disaster related issues, many administrative related issues. So every time we have created a parameter here. Now we are looking for the deviation. Now time comes to see the Kerala issue. Kerala has their unique proposition. Like this side, we have too many suggestions, making the things confusing. In Kerala, yes, it has mitigated. So that the Gujarat also has some positive side. So you have to search here. In Kerala also, we have confusion and too many supports, and like technical expertise is there, everything is there. But because of the complicities of, because we have Idukki Dam had dual purposes. It is to generate electricity side by side. It is for controlling flood. So that is where the issue comes, no? Because when we have an Assam dam generating electricity, we need to let water jump from over the dam, and flood control requires water to release under the dam. And that is where the miscalculation creates, mismanagement. So that is where we have a disaster. Norms are failed because of the mismanagement, and that is where you have to manage your rest of the answer. But like you need to get in a support of these case studies. Okay, that way you have to proceed. And on this count, on the same way, in the same content, I am having one more tentative question. You can handle this. And if you want access to those report-based content, you can give us in a text in the prescribed number, or you can write an introduction in the comment box. There also we're going to give you some hint, like whether writing introduction means giving an idea that you have captured the real demand of the question or not. Now, that is where our purpose is to give you the opportunity to join Mission 5000. What is the purpose of the Mission 5000? To refine you 5000 times your thoughts, your answer writing. And it is so flexible. You can join with 50 rupees a program. We have on a Sunday Supreme Test event where every Sunday we conduct a test. And you have a choice. You can write a test for one question, or you can write a test for this one question. Then we have a 5-question test, 10-question test, and full test. So according to your choice, we have a different course fee. We have one question will cost you around 50 rupees. And accordingly, we have the question test for this. Now, this is not in a one question we're going to provide you have to write an answer. This is like a kind of a system support you will get out of this 50 rupees. Now, what system support? You'll get those notes, topic notes, related topics from where the question will going to be formulated. And not only this, after you write an answer, you'll get a model answer. You'll get a detailed evaluation, like the number of words you will write, close to that you'll get an evaluation report. And in evaluation report, you'll get an all hint, what idea you have missed. You'll get in a very detailed, like you can take in a litmus test also, no? By prescribing this course in a 50 rupees or 250 or this 499. That way you can join this course. Okay. Now, why to, there we have a certain more norms. The winner, the topper will get a prize every Sunday, but like there is a condition. What condition? That you have to write your answer in a handwritten and give it a screenshot. Okay. The second thing is you have to submit here. The window will open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and you have to give answer before 9 p.m. You have a choice. You can give the next day also. You'll get a proper feedback and all evaluation, but you aren't going to get a prize. No? You will be excluded from the prize money. Okay. Now you will get a hint, like why to join. The first, you'll get your knowledge to be tested on a real-time scenario. Second, you will get a chance to have a critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Breaking the causes in a finer idea so that you can discover solution. That is known as critical thinking. You will develop this idea when you're going to engage more within a question answer writing. Develop precision and clarity of expression. Yes, that is where you get in a support in a Zoom sessions and all. And build a ready-made answers bank. And that is where our idea is. 5,000 means 5,000 blueprint. Every question demands a blueprint related efforts. And that is where you'll get so much number of, so that the content from the one will help you writing other. The time comes when you're working in a one box, it will going to help you writing other answers. And you'll get an honest and detailed feedback. So do join, and that is where you'll get in the real track to prepare, and that is how you will find yourself in a right track, right? Because in the era of this time when we have too many information is available, it is very difficult to find out what not to study. So this is where our program is. Thank you very much.